Testing, testing. Yali, how do we sound?
Sound good.
Thank you.
I listened to myself and I sounded a little nasally, but what can I do?
That's normal.
I'm talking about the mic quality, not the sound of your voice. Yeah.
Yali, you're supposed to say no, you sound great.
No, you sounded fine. You sounded fine.
Yeah, you're nasally, but the microphone's good.
Matias, are you with us?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Matias,
Yeah.
we can hear you, but we can't see you yet.
Okay.
There you are.
There we go.
Matias, how are you?
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
I don't recognize you, Liza.
Liza,
sorry.
Liza, yeah.
Okay. Hi.
No, I kind of feel like I know you because of our communication back and forth. So,
That's right.
Yeah. And thank you for the headshot. Great headshot.
I just took it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You took it yourself?
I took it myself. Yeah.
Buddy, that's a
with
good
my
work.
cell
Good
phone.
job. I can line
I
up
thought it
people
was
for
like-
you to take
Yeah,
their
I thought
headshots.
it was like a professional. I was like, wow, he even has a professional one.
No.
It was fun. It's fun.
No. Yeah.
Good
My
stuff.
face is too boring otherwise. I gotta
No.
So,
gotta ham it up.
how do I say Matias or Matias?
Matias
Okay.
And your last name?
Balmaceda.
Okay. I was like, it's going to be Balmaceda or Balmaceda, but I think it's because it's more Spanish, right? So the C and the E are the S sound. Okay. That's what I thought. Awesome.
So I just thank you for joining us. You're our second guest on Upfront Toronto, conversations with people that move the city forward.
Cool.
And I'm just going to introduce you and the little information that I found about you and that I know. And then you can fill in a little. It's a very conversational and we're just sitting and chatting, the three of us, friendly conversation. It's divided into three parts. We're looking at career part, personal, and city related. So we're trying to cover those elements. So I know you. I know Completo as a customer. So to be fair, and you already know my voice on the phone. I now know your brother, who sounds exactly like you, knows my voice on the phone. So it's and I'm there almost every week. So just to give full disclosure.
Matias, does he qualify as a regular?
Oh yeah. Alon's been going there for years.
Come on, exactly.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
I'm not a regular. I'm a pillar, Liza.
A pillar.
Closer to a pillar. It's true. You went 5 years ago, maybe, or something, first time.
I think as long as I live in Regent Park, which is about 4 years, yeah.
Oh, 4 years.
Pretty much.
Because you knew Bret briefly.
No, maybe because I
maybe you didn't.
I saw his name in the So I may have seen him, but I don't know him. You know.
Okay. Am I yelling? Sorry, am I yelling?
You're perfect.
No.
Okay, good.
You hear you good. So you own Completo. I know you and Andrea, and now the two of you are running two stores. It's Latin sandwiches. I know you're from Chile originally, and you started it as at Kensington Market as a pop-up, which I didn't know, and I'm excited to discover more and to hear more about that. Yes. And we're really happy that you joined us. Would you like to share anything more for the introduction?
Happy to be here. Thank you very much. It's my first Zoom meeting ever, so I'm new to this. If hopefully I don't do anything wrong, but no, very happy to be here, and I will let you know about our story. Completo.
Awesome.
Very good. For a first-time Zoomer, you have your brand in the background on my right, and you have evergreen plant on their left. So you're killing it.
That's right. Yeah.
I haven't figured out my background yet, so I've plenty on Zoom.
I had to find a way to advertise, so I'm like, oh, I have this painting. Great.
Perfect. Who did that? Is that someone painted that for you?
Yeah, it was a competition. Actually, we had nothing to do with it. I think the BIA in Leslieville organized it. And so they got local artists to just find a corner in the neighborhood and paint whatever they wanted. And this woman showed up in front of our restaurant and started painting. And then at the end of it, I looked at it. I loved it. I mean, I was going to probably buy it regardless, but it turned out amazing. I love it.
How awesome. They just picked your corner of the world.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
No, he
Great.
has, they have a magical corner. And actually so the Coady Street one has it's like just this a beautiful side street with all these street bumps and kids playing hockey and basketball down the road, and there's a park there. And then their new store is also on Broadview, but a beautiful, like, it has that corner feeling to it, and a really nice patio. So you're good
Like
at
that.
selecting locations.
Oh God, that's great.
That's the tables. It looks a lot like that. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the storefront. You've got the tables and the trees and the park
Yeah.
behind.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
missing the
lovely.
picnic table, but that's okay. She was probably
It
sitting
doesn't
on
have
it.
the, yeah. Well, it's missing right now anyway, because
Right.
they're out of service.
Right.
For one more month.
Okay. Let's dive in.
Yep.
So we're going to start with just because it's kind of, you can't not talk about it. So we're going to start with just kind of COVID and just wondering how that's affected your business. Like, what are the drawbacks, opportunities that sort of immediately come to mind? Because it's definitely affected the restaurant. I mean, it's affected everybody, but the restaurant industry for sure.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from our standpoint, when it first hit, the first 3 weeks was the panic. Of course, like everybody, we didn't know what was going on. We thought, this is it. Like, this is the end of everything. Like, just shut down the restaurants. We're going out of business. And that was my initial reaction. And then after, I stayed open. I didn't close at all. Even last March, first started. I just decided to just kind of stay open and just see
Yeah. Right.
wait for the announcements and see what's going on really before closing or doing dramatic. So I was feeling this inside, but I still remained open.
Mhm.
And it was very slow. First 3 weeks was very slow. Like, I mean, it was down to almost nothing.
Yeah.
But after that, after about 3 weeks, people started coming out, and they started coming out big time.
Good.
And we were going into summer, so
Yeah.
the weather was changing, and
spring naturally does that. Like, spring naturally, people want to come out. They want to, come from hibernation and
exactly.
So, yeah.
It's our busy time anyway. I mean, every
Right.
we're because we're patio centric.
Yeah.
We're known as summer spots. So come spring, people come.
Yeah.
So that happened again, and in fact, to be honest, it happened. We were busier, I think, than the spring before.
Really?
Was that like the takeout or the delivery component increased?
It was takeout, and the thing is that because we have a park right next door to us.
Yes.
With picnic benches and stuff, or just the grass to sit on. So even though patios were closed, we represented a takeout place with a nearby place where you could go sit outdoors.
Right.
So that, and being takeout, I mean, we specialize in our price point is low, and we do takeout. So from that aspect, we were kind of built for this kind of scenario.
Mhm.
I mean,
Mhm.
Matias, I went a few times to the new location by Riverdale Park, which is a gorgeous park. It's Riverdale, right? On the yeah. And my sons and we take the bikes and pick up the food and then go and sit and look at the city from Riverdale Park. And you're right, it was such and the park was full of people sitting, basically eating and drinking and enjoying the outdoors.
So that leads me to, so you're talking about our Broadview location, which is our bigger restaurant that we just opened. We literally opened 3 months before the pandemic hit. So we opened not this January, but the January before. And then we closed on the 15th of March. So that restaurant, I closed down because it was too new. It had been open 2.5 months. And it wasn't fully established yet. So I just thought in order to save money and just kind of
focus your energy on
play it safe. Exactly. I decided to close that restaurant, and I put up a sign just saying to go to our smaller restaurant to get food if you want, because it's not that far away. And so we closed the Broadview location for 2 months. was it 2 months? Yeah, March 15th, April to about, mid-May, beginning of June. So we still got a summer out of the Broadview location.
Right.
And it was very busy too. It was very
Yeah.
busy.
Do you intentionally pick places next to parks, or did that just happen?
So yes, I mean, I have an affinity for patios, first of all.
Okay.
I know a lot of restaurateurs that don't like patios. They hate patios. I don't know why, because of weather, and
Yeah.
it can be difficult. If you're a fancier restaurant and people are sitting outside, I can see that being a problem.
Yeah, you have
Right.
to control the whole thing, and if
Yeah.
there are wasps and
Yeah.
whatnot. For you, it is. You
That's
take
right.
the bag, throw it on the table. It's easy.
Right.
Once we hand you the bag, it's your like
You decide.
like our service ends. Once we
Okay.
hand you the bag, so
Okay.
you can sit in our patio, but if it's raining, if you can't, then you can't. It's
Okay.
just up to you. I don't have to move you anywhere,
Right.
so that makes it really easy.
Yes, of course.
And so I love patios. They're a great draw. Yeah, in a
Okay.
city where we have this terrible winter every year.
Right. It's a very long one as well. So through this, through what have you learned most about yourself and the business in terms of, how you've had to pivot, if you've had to pivot since COVID? Like the resiliency, I would think, is definitely necessary. But what have you learned most about yourself and your business?
Yeah, well, a couple things. So talking about resiliency, we opened, we were I had a business partner, which is no longer, but we opened very rough. Like, we were inexperienced. We had very little money. So we come from hardship. Like,
Right.
it's normal for us. So for us to pivot into kind of an emergency situation, was easy, to be honest.
Matthias,
because-
can I ask you,
Yeah.
how much money when you opened your business? I'm really
Yeah.
curious. Like, what was your initial investment in the Coady Avenue, and then maybe
So-
and we can talk about Kensington also a little, because I love Kensington, and I don't know, were you in that hallway where the Latin food is, and each has a counter, and you made food there?
We were there. We were outdoors though, so we only did it summer.
Oh, in the alleyway.
Okay.
We were in their alleyway. They have a backyard with
Mhm.
tables, and we were kind of in the back. We built
So-
a hut.
Yeah. I'm curious, just for people listening who are
Yep.
wanting to open businesses, how much funds did you need to open the Kensington Market one? And then in turn, once you saw success and you saw your product has, people are interested in it and love it, how
Yep.
much did it cost you, if you are willing to share?
Yeah. So Kensington cost very little, and that was on purpose. So we did it to try out the concept.
Sure.
We didn't want to invest a lot. We didn't want to risk a lot. So it was perfect. We thought 2 months there, we'll rent a little space outdoors, build a little hut. So that cost, there was an investment, let's say total, $5,000 to $10,000.
Yeah, ballpark is fine.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
So
I don't
you-
remember exactly.
You were
but
there
it might have
one
been
summer
closer to
then?
5.
And you were there one summer or more than that?
One summer. Yeah.
Okay. And then for
Yep.
Coady, do you remember, or?
Yes. So for
Ballpark?
Coady, it was about, so just to put things into perspective, Coady, so that location was very special because it was extremely cheap. It was $1,200 a month. Now
Wow.
that was almost 6-7 years ago. But
Mhm.
still, it was still very cheap even at that time. I mean, rents haven't gone up, commercial
Mhm.
rents haven't gone up that much. So, when I found that spot, I thought, perfect. This is the perfect next step to, being outdoors in Kensington Market. So it still represented a risk, but nothing huge.
Not huge
Right.
commitment in terms of rent, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, in terms of rent.
Was it
exactly.
a restaurant when you took it over? Did it have the hoods and everything there?
No, nothing. So there was still an investment. Now the space is 300 square feet upstairs, as you know, Alon. And in the basement, it's another 300. So it's tiny.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So we knew the build would be not that expensive because it's so small.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So mind you, it always costs more than you think. So we probably invested in that location initially about 60, and then all told maybe another 10,000 on top. So it was for a restaurant, that's nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I remember when we did our restaurant 25 years ago, we put the only $50,000 that our father had, our parents had, and took a loan for 100. And it was 700 square feet on Young and Wellesley. And it was 100,000 for reno. And it used to be a restaurant. So we didn't have to put a hood or anything like that. All that was there, but it still cost, like you said, it costs always more than you think. And you needed a little money for a runway. So it was around 150 altogether, and this is 25 years ago. So that's great. With our newer restaurant, those numbers we definitely surpassed them several times. Interesting. So
at what can I just ask? At what point when you were at Kensington? At what point were you like, okay, this is a hit? Like we got to do something here. At what point did you think, wow, let's really give this a go at a proper storefront?
It was our first day actually, because because
I just got goosebumps.
It was the funniest day because we intended intentionally to open on a pedestrian Sunday because it gets packed.
Smart.
So we thought, so it's like a festival kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So we thought, what a great day to do it the first time. Now the first time we did it, we eventually built a hut in the back behind on Augusta, behind that Latin place there. But initially, our first day, we had nothing. So we had two $25 burners that we bought at Canadian Tire. There was a rickety fold-out table that we found there, and we put the two things on top. And we had a cooler, and we borrowed an indoor fridge from the guys in the shop there to house some of our product. And I remember, I'll never forget, it got really windy about halfway through the day, and we were selling sandwiches, and we kind of didn't know what we were doing. I mean, we'd cooked the food a few times at our homes just to practice.
Sure.
I've eaten this stuff a million times in restaurants in Chile. So we practiced a bit, and here we were. It was our first day. We're in the middle of a festival. It was very busy. So we were doing our best, and then it got really windy, I remember, and the whole table was going like this, and the flame was going out. So we grabbed rocks, and we built a wall of stones on this rickety table around the burners.
So they don't blow out.
To block the wind. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And to keep the table down.
It was so absurdly ridiculous, but we were crazy busy. Like that day we did, we might have done $2,000 in sales.
Wow, that's amazing. Did you call yourself Completo then, or was it a different name? It was Completo.
We already had the name. Yeah.
And did
sandwiches were $5? $5. So we did $2,000, $5.
So this is 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And how long were you open? Like, that's a lot of sandwiches. So how many hours were you open?
All day from probably, I don't remember, but maybe 10, 11 until 6, 7.
And the following week, did people come looking for you for repeat business?
Yeah.
That's the key, man, right? Isn't it?
That's
when you
awesome.
keep
Right
people
away.
coming back.
That's
you can make a sale the first time, but then do they come back?
That's right.
Yeah.
And so it took a few weeks, but we started getting regulars.
Yeah.
They were people who lived in that area mostly because the pedestrian Sunday people come from all over the city, and a lot of them don't come back. But so we started getting regulars, and then after that first day, we had a great feeling, and then once we started seeing regulars, we were like, let's do this.
Do you still visit Kensington Market?
Yeah, I do sometimes. Yeah, I go visit those guys there in the Latin shop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is there anybody
what a great start.
Would you recommend anybody? Who do you like? Which food do you like the most in that specific area? Is there anything
yes, there's a woman who does I don't know the name of her spot, and it's not on Augusta, it's on the same street as Tom's Suits.
Baldwin.
Mm.
Yeah, it's on Baldwin. So it's closer to Augusta. It's on Baldwin on the north side. And she's a Peruvian lady who does Peruvian food.
Oh.
And it is incredible. I mean, she does elaborate dishes to like tamales to go.
So she's
I mean,
on Tom's side, closer
Tom's
to
side.
Augusta.
Yes.
Okay, we'll check it out. Okay,
We
so
will. We
let's
can put it in the show notes. Put it
this
in the
is-
show notes and
yeah.
give
Incredible
people a
food.
shout out. Yeah. Okay, good.
So let's
Yeah.
look at, we started, it's kind of a leading, going there anyways.
Yeah.
When did you think of the idea for the business? So what made you, do you remember the moment that you said, I have an idea, and taking the next few steps?
More or less. I don't have an exact moment because it's an idea that actually was fermenting for a very long time. It came from going to Chile often. I used to go very often to Chile. My whole life as a kid, and then as an adolescent, and then when I became an adult, a little more sporadic, but still going a lot. So every time I went to Chile, the first thing I wanted to have was a churrasco sandwich, steak churrasco sandwich with avocado and all that stuff.
And had you ever been able to find that here, or is it just it's never been the same?
Not really. So as this idea, as the years, so let's say about 10 years ago, like a few years before I opened, went to Kensington, and I had this idea turning around in my head. I did a little research, so I looked around, and there was only one place in all of Toronto that I found, and it's kind of in the outskirts. It's kind of far out. And so I went and tried it, and it was so-so.
It was okay.
It was okay. So I could definitely see improvement. Like
you could do it better.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Interesting.
And what would be the biggest obstacle that you had in your career? So I'm connecting this to what did you do before? I'm curious what you did before you went into food business.
Yes. So before, so it's really strange. I haven't really heard anyone say this before, but I felt like I wanted to practice being a business owner. So I wanted to practice having businesses, being a boss, employing people, stuff like that. So I started small. So I had for a while. So a while back, I had a clothing store in the West End, on Queen West, Queen and Manning. It was called Inner City, and I did that for 5 years. Then there was a few years where I didn't have a business. I was just working, and then I opened another business that was it was kind of an attraction for kids that I toured around Ontario to festivals. A massive attraction. It was actually very successful.
So kids, how old?
So kids, all ages, all the way up to adults, really. So they were swimming pools, these massive inflatable swimming pools. Very big. They were probably like 40 feet by 40 feet, and I had 2 or 3 of them. And so it was kind of not the smallest operation. Like, I had a staff of.
Wait, so let me understand. You had a location with these pools, or you
I would
hauled
move them around.
Okay.
You traveled to the party.
So you're like
Yes.
the pool circus.
It was incredibly hard work. It was
you arrived to town, and you see the pools being hauled in. Are they like inflatable ones or
Yes.
structures? Okay.
They're inflatable.
And then
So
you
they're
sell
about-
tickets for kids to come and have fun.
So we have these inflatable balls that they go inside,
Okay.
pumped with air, and then you push them in the water and they run around. You might have seen them. They have them at.
Oh my!
So I
kids
think
must
you
love
probably
that.
picked the hardest. Like that sounds. There's so many problems associated.
Alone.
I'm thinking safety, kids, moving shit around, water.
Ensuring it was fun. Finding an insurer that would insure this thing was fun, especially since I was one of the first people doing it in Ontario. In
Yeah, there
Canada,
was a
really.
reason for that also.
Yeah. And so put it this way, Alon, it was such hard work that having a restaurant kind of seemed like
easy.
not so hard. Really, it was kind of like, oh, I could do this.
Listen,
whatever.
that's the best way to
Breathe.
frame things is, there's a story, a woman comes to the rabbi and she says, oh, our apartment is so small. I don't know what to do. My husband said, okay, bring a goat into it. And then she comes the next week. Oh, it's still so small. She says, bring a donkey in. Eventually she brings 4 or 5 animals and she's complaining and complaining. And the 5th week she comes to him and he says, well, let them all out. And the next week she comes in and it's, oh, the apartment is so big. There's so much room. It's so good.
It's an exact type of thing. So I did this on purpose. Like I put myself through kind of the ringer. I wanted to fast track some experience. And it worked. It worked. See,
So
most
that was your
people
biggest
start off-
obstacle, you think, is that business of inflatable pools traveling across the province? That's the biggest. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I had to. Yeah, I mean, let me think. Having the store was they're all very difficult. What else did I do? I was also I did video editing for a while as well. I did a commercial for Much Music that I directed and edited. So I did a few things like that too. But the businesses were the hardest work. The store, then I had that business, which I did for a few years. That business made a lot of money, but it was incredibly difficult. I had to buy the equipment from China myself with knowing very little about it, staying up late at night and doing business with China it was difficult with companies that you don't know if they're real or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Most people start with the easier jobs and then get more difficult. It sounds like you did it the other way around.
Liza, if
You started
anybody
with the
says,
difficult-
I'm a masochist, Liza.
if
I'm a
anybody
masochist.
tells you the restaurant is easier than my previous job, there's something wrong there.
That's
Anybody-
So do you
who-
think
Anybody who asked me, should I go into the restaurant? I have this really good idea. I said, I'm good. This is going to be the best advice you ever get. Don't go into the restaurant business.
That's
I
right.
did. When I got out of our first restaurant, I told my ex-wife, I said, shoot me. The next time we open a restaurant, shoot me.
Yeah.
And of course we opened another restaurant, but
right?
I'm sure she wanted to shoot me for other reasons, but I'm still around. So what do you love the most about your business now? What you do?
The most, I enjoy serving customers. Like I enjoy making people, at the end of the day, I like making people happy. I realized in my life that's it's something that it's how I get my enjoyment. I'm like that in everyday life. As hard as these jobs are, I'm always in a good mood. I'm probably the easiest boss ever. I enjoy what I do. I like life. Like I'm not, it's, there's a lot of stress involved with it, and this and that. But I kind of, having put myself in, many different difficult situations in my life, having to start over and, be resilient and pick myself up from nothing over and over again. You kind of, you realize that, hey, what's the worst that's going to happen? In terms of dealing with the stress, it's like, you kind of lose the fear. You're like, well, what's the worst that can happen? I end up
you're
back
still kicking.
exactly where I was,
Right.
which,
Right.
which, whatever, I start over.
Liza, when I go to Completo, it's always like this cool music in the background. There is a good vibe to both locations. Coady, maybe it's a little cozier. So you're doing something right with feeling good. I'm with you. I love serving people and I miss the serving element. Moving on to the commercial bakery from our store, and my ex had to move me from the cash register because I used to take cash, but I was such a people pleaser that I'd give away stuff for free, like all these
For sure.
add-ons, and I'm like, it's okay. And then I think by the 7th day, she is,
He's
Alon,
like, no more.
you're off cash. Like, and I was
Right?
the main guy, and you're off cash. And I said, oh, you're right. And then we started making a little more money because I was not, and it was the best decision.
But you're still serving people. By serving people, I mean, like, you know, your pitas are making people happy. Like, I mean, giving people something. Like, I'm sure if you watch someone eat one of your pitas and get a smile on their face, that makes you feel incredible.
When it's a commercial business, there's that, you don't have that interaction, and there's the beauty coming with that interaction, but also the aggravation, of course. So I'm glad I don't have the aggravation.
Well,
Okay,
food naturally does that. Like food naturally brings people together. Like, you know,
it makes them feel like you're hungry and nervous, and you got it nourishes you, and it comes down also. Like,
and it's a necessity.
Love the veggie churrasco, the veggie sandwich with like, I know I shouldn't, but I sometimes take the cheese on it, and it's like, it's so good and calming, and their fries are double fried. I think really good, really well done.
Like,
so
when I cook there, you know, and I'm cooking there less, like I'm there a couple of days a week. My favorite thing is to give a first-time customer some food, have them, you know, they'll go sit on the patio. I can see them. And then I watch them take that first bite, and then I look for the facial expression right after that.
What a delight.
That to me gives me my kick.
Yeah.
You're a people's person.
Yeah.
In the city, who is your favorite competitor? So who makes a kick-ass sandwich?
That's a tough one. There's been a few sandwiches that I've loved over the years in the city. Problem is, a couple of the places aren't around anymore. But there used to be a place called Clafouti, right across from Trinity Bellwoods Park, and they used to make a shrimp croissant, a shrimp salad croissant, which I just loved. It was quick and easy. It was like, I forget, but it was under $10, and it was just fast and delicious. They were ready to go. I love that sandwich. A competitor, you know, when we first started the restaurant, our inspiration in terms of a business model was Burger Priest. The reason why was because they started in a tiny little forlorn spot on a really wretched corner of the East End, and you know, look what they turned into. You know,
there is nothing there. You think
no,
it's such
even
a weird
still.
location.
I mean, it's getting better, but it's still kind of you know a weird corner.
You have to want to go there.
Yeah.
Liza.
That was our inspiration, you know, and their burgers are really good. You know, they're you know, they're not my favorite thing in the world, but their business model to me was brilliant.
That was inspiring.
Yeah.
Wow. Very good. So let's get a little personal, shall we? Yeah. So where were you born? Were you born here or?
No. So I was born in Chile.
Okay. So you were born there. I wondered because I thought, and then when did you come here?
So my parents moved here when I was 3 years old. So I was raised.
Okay. So you were raised here. So the going back and forth was kind of a natural thing then, because your family must have been there.
My dad worked for an airline, so we had free flights. So we traveled a lot. We went to Chile a lot. We also went to Thailand. We went to, you know, as a kid, I got to see a lot of the world.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
And what are some key lessons you learned from your parents? Like, what are the key sort of, lessons that they taught you?
I think so. So most of those lessons would have come from my mother, because my father moved back to Chile when I was kind of younger. So he had less of an influence on me. But my mother was a small business person. So I was raised by a single mother who was also an independent business person. So, you know, I got to see her hardships, her ups and downs. I got to see the good, the bad. You know, I got to see the freedom of not having a 9-to-5 working for someone else, but I got to see the stress of, you know.
What businesses was she in? Yeah. What does she focused on?
She's a fashion designer. So her name's Alexia Von Beck, and she had a store up at Summerhill for probably over 20 years. And down at Queens Quay before that.
Have you
and
worked
funny-
for her when you were a kid?
No, but she would schlep us to the store every other day and hang out.
Probably
there all
felt like
day.
work.
That's to save for babysitter money.
And
So you
funny,
inherited that work ethic from her then. You must have
Well-
inherited. Yeah.
funny enough, well, a little anecdote. Her first store was in Kensington Market too. It was
The
just like you-
irony.
Yeah,
All
yeah, it was
paths
really
lead
weird.
to Kensington.
Yeah, so I used to go with her there, just hang out in the market all day while she would sell clothes and
Right.
you know, and so I have a special bond with the market. But you know, I growing up as a kid with my mother being a business owner, I thought the opposite. I thought to myself, I never want to do this.
Really?
I thought, oh, how terrible to be a small business owner. Like, what a terrible thing to do. You know, you know what I hated about it?
What? Like, was it like the work? Like, what was it that?
Well, I just thought, the insecurity of it all, I think just
Okay.
got to me. And I also thought that, yeah, it was just, yeah, I thought to myself, like, you know, my mother, for example, like, and this happens to a lot of small business owners. You wear your business on your sleeve. So, for example, if you had a bad day today, you're in a bad mood today.
Right. Right.
So, like, if your sales were low today, your mood sucks today. You know,
Okay.
and I hated that. You know, and funny enough, I don't run my business like that. I don't feel like that ever. I could have a slow day, and I don't carry it home with me.
You know, it's so
Right.
interesting how you said like that it didn't attract you, but it created that your reality. That's the reality of your adulthood. Yeah, you played around in different industries, but you still went the independent way. I used to. Our father had a fashion company back in Israel, and I used to fold T-shirts for him and sell T-shirts to customers and all that. And then we lost everything when I was 16. And he was 50, and we came back to Canada at that time. So I know what you mean is even though it was we lost everything and we started back from nothing, I still had the drive to succeed because I was afraid of losing things.
Right.
I had that, like, there was an anxiety of losing everything, and it pushed me like hell to succeed. Thankfully, lately, that anxiety is going away a little, and it's not ruling me, but it's sometimes you have that regardless of if you're successful or not. It's almost not connected to how much money you have in your bank account. It's personal work you need to do. It seems you have that. You're lucky to have that inner peace that you're not affected by the day-to-day business.
It was kind of done. It was engineered on purpose. So I do a mental trick. So I did a mental trick when I first opened the restaurant. I told myself, and all of my businesses have been like this. I've always looked at them. I've never said to myself, I'm doing this business to make money. I've never said that. I've always said to myself, I'm doing this business to learn. And that slight difference in perspective changes everything. And when we opened with my former business partner, when we opened the Completo, we never called it a business. We always referred to it as an art project. And it's a mental trick. It just removed the stress.
So the expectation,
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when you were in Kensington Market with your mom and you're going through these experiences, like, what did you want to be when you grew up? Like, what were you thinking that you wanted to?
Oh, the total opposite.
Because you didn't want to do that.
Yeah, the total opposite of say a
he
small
wanted
business.
to be a banker or
Like
Right.
yeah, like
Finance.
I was too young to know, but like a business person, like
Right.
working for a big, huge company or something, something super safe and super secure, and yeah,
So-
that seemed good to me.
Yeah. So that conscious, well, it seems conscious, but maybe it was a bit subconscious to not do it like your mom. Like you wanted to do it and you did this mental trick. Like, when did that sort of flourish? Like, when did you think, okay, this is how I'm going to do this, like this?
So that was later in life, like a little bit later. So, in my early 20s, to be honest, I was a little lost. I just I worked in restaurants. I worked a lot of different jobs. I did construction. I did restaurants. I was trying different things. The thing is that so I was going to go to post-sec. I was going to go. I did a year at Carleton University, and then I realized that that's when things started changing. When I started realizing that maybe I don't want to go work for like some big company.
Right.
And so I started pulling at other things. Like I decided I wanted to do film.
Right.
So then I went to Ryerson, studied film. And I dabbled in that and I got into that for a while. And I ended up in video editing. That's sort of where you end up, unless, that's the easiest place to go, kind of, where the work is. And so I did that for a long time. And then I got sick of being in front of a computer.
Right.
That was it was just all day computer work. And because also in between that time, I also studied film and sound engineering. So I think I OD'd on computers.
So were you missing the human interaction, like that human element?
You wanted to see the smile on someone's
the people.
That's
like,
right. Yeah.
Because in editing, you don't really see the end. Like you see the end result, but you don't see the people's reactions to your work.
Not really. No, and you don't even get any credit for it. You do all the work, you get no credit. It's like I was like, I don't like this.
This isn't going to work for you.
No. So
okay.
So at that time, so I spent many years, probably 5, 6, 7 years, just chained to a computer, like just all the time, doing graphic design, doing film work, doing video editing, doing music, and I couldn't take it anymore. At the end of that, it was like coming out of a dark cave, and
you can't quite see.
So you're willing to risk everything for minimum wage, as long as you have freedom. Yeah.
To be with people. Yeah.
Right. So now you're in your restaurant. So what's your morning routine? Like, what's a day like for you? Because you said earlier that you're there maybe, I think 2 or 3 times or 3 times a week or so. So what's your average day like?
So yeah, I still cook on the lot. Like I cook in one of the restaurants twice a week now, which is very little. I used to cook 7 days a week.
Right.
So it's been a while now. I mean, since it's been a few years that I've toned down the cooking, and now even more so because we have a second restaurant, and so that makes it more difficult. So I find that my time is kind of wasted cooking. I should be doing other stuff. So
right.
So
was it hard to hand that over?
Yeah, it still is. I'm very anal about the food quality.
Yes.
So for me, that's kind of the part where I still feel sometimes I do get a little stressed out. It's when I'm not there. I mean, small business owners, we all suffer from this. When you're away from your business, it's like leaving a baby.
Yeah. Unattended.
Unattended. You never 100% relaxed, really.
Right.
But
so do you train them? Is it like training, or is it people you learn to trust? How do you make sure that when you're not there, the quality is there and that you're not stressed? Do you have systems that
it's training? Most of it comes down to the training process. And then it's training process, it's meetings. It's also being there a lot. So just because I'm not cooking, I'm still there a lot. I mean,
your eyes are on the.
Yeah, I go in and out all day. I'm in and out all day. So
I think any business, you need to be around. You cannot take off completely.
No,
have the principle.
And the staff needs to know that you're around.
Mm-hmm.
And so that they're on their best behavior and they're trying their best. And if you're not there for a period, for a long time, things will start to relax too much.
Right.
So
do you feel you have to be leading that? Like, is that not constant, but you're constantly needing, because people do appreciate leadership. So
the thing is, I don't have a dedicated manager.
Okay.
Like that's me. So I'm the owner / manager.
You have your brother. So you have your
and my
your-
brother. So
your
my brother,
partner, Andrea.
that's true.
She's yeah, and then your
yeah,
brother.
sorry. So I have my business partner. Yeah. So I want, so I have my business partner who's also my life partner, who's Andrea. And so without her, I wouldn't have been able to expand because she actually runs the new restaurant, the bigger restaurant. And she is where she just stepped into the business a couple of years ago. And yeah, I just couldn't even be doing what I'm doing without her. But it's been a learning experience for her too. And so she's now probably where I was a few years ago. So in terms of like, she's in the restaurant every day, she's cooking, she's managing, she's running the thing.
How does that work for you guys? I'm curious.
That was my next question.
When you work together and you're in the same location, that's a big challenge. But you guys don't work together physically, right? You run two separate locations.
Right. So we did. We worked for 1 year together at the small location before opening the big one. And
did that work out?
We did it pretty good. Yeah.
Is there a leader between the two of you? Is it known that you are, and not in sense that you need a decision maker, right? You can't have two people argue or anything like that. So yeah.
It's clear cut that I'm the leader and it has to be that way. It's just, and she's totally, accepts that because she just, she jumped on 2 or 3 years ago. And so she doesn't know everything that yet. And she, she accepts that she wasn't part of the creation process.
Is she the leader now at the new location?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's great.
Yeah, and at her location, she's even the leader over me. I'm sort of the leader of the whole business, but she runs that restaurant. That's her restaurant.
Where do you see yourself, like business wise? And I know I'm jumping with business into personal, but I'm curious. Do you have a goal? Are you still just experimenting, or do you have a overarching business goal, or are you just enjoying life as it is and it will go where it may go?
No. Remember, Alon, I'm a masochist. Yes. There's no enjoyment, there's no relaxation in
more restaurants.
No, so from the beginning, the idea, Completo was set up, nothing was random about it. Like me and my partner discussed absolutely every single aspect of it. So the idea was always to do a chain of small restaurants, like Burger Priest. So that was our example.
Your model.
So that hasn't changed. It's taken longer than I thought, and the pandemic and all this, but we've already started that journey. And so my goals, I have the big lofty goals up in the top of my brain, but I keep that kind of away. And then I have my nearer term goals more front of mind. So my nearer term goals is, I want to open a restaurant in the West End.
I remember you were almost found a location, and then you decided on going on Broadview.
Then I found Broadview, and I just fell in love with it. Like it wasn't part of the plan, but
did it affect your sales at Coady? Sorry for veering all over the place, but did it affect sales or not at all?
No, sales have not dipped. I mean, because of having another restaurant so close.
So close, yeah.
Yeah, no. And that was a bit of a concern, even though we knew we were going to do some different stuff and whatever. I justified opening the bigger Completo, even though it was very close, because I want the other ones to be smaller, but that one could serve as a base. And so,
So have people approached you to open Completos in other locations? Have you experienced that?
I've had a few people. No one like recently, but in the past few years, I've had a few people approach me at Completo.
I can see you also in malls and stuff. Sorry, like I can see
so
it's very suitable as a really tasty fast food option.
Yes, my dream, Alon, is to be in an airport or in a like
you want your
arena.
face, the poster of your face in the airport.
That's it. You got it.
Is that like the big lofty dream, or is that the kind of closer dream?
That's still quite lofty. I mean, getting
Yeah.
into like, airports and stuff, you got to be pretty big to do that. So
Right.
that's
Well,
still
either
a ways
that or
away.
you have to be in Kensington Market. It seems a bunch of places from Kensington ended up there.
Well, yeah. So I mean,
Okay.
it's not a goal that's, way out there, but
Right.
it's just still a bit of ways off. So I see it as like, go to the West End, open something there, like in the Junction or some, or not the, sorry, I Love Liberty Village, that kind of thing. Open, and and then from there we'll see. Like, first you gotta take over the city, then
Yeah, it's about
Right.
brand, getting your brand out there, the name
exactly,
known, the quality, consistency, expectations,
exactly.
and
Yeah.
What
it's
and then
yeah,
I will approach people for franchising and further growth at that point, but I feel like I need to be at a certain level first.
yeah.
Right.
I
Right.
see. I remember when we had the store, I was washing the window of the store because a year and a half into, and we were successful. We were not charging enough money for our sandwiches, and we had lineups at lunch and all, but we worked really hard. And I was standing there, and it's what's next, and it was one was opening another store, another restaurant, and the second was going into catering because we were making office caterings. That was shortening my life because you promise everyone you'll deliver them at 12, and you go and delivering to 5 different offices. It makes you a liar, that business. So that also shortened my life.
Difficult.
And then the third one was to go and make bread industrially, and like to make, and this guy, really smart guy, stood next to me, and he, one of the customers, and we were chatting, and he said, Alon, go into commercial baking. It's really much harder getting into it, but you control the quality. You're there. It's all in one place, and you ship it out, and then you can react to changes easier once you succeed. And that's, I kind of, that's where we went, and in that direction, and it seemed to work. But I see, very successful chains and franchises of really good food, as long as you have your brand down and quality and systems to keep quality and keep it simple.
That's right.
So as long as you don't introduce inflatable pools to Completo.
That's it. No more pools.
No more pools. That was your past life. So you sound busy, and you're a masochist by your words. So where's your happy place? Like, where, or is that like, what is your happy place? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
My happy place, I guess, is
he can't elaborate him being a masochist and this being a family show.
I can't say my day off now. So
can't tell us what you do.
My happy place, honestly, when it's busiest, like if it's like dead of summer, it's 45 degrees and both restaurants are pumping at full capacity, and I'm running between them, plugging holes. That's
beautiful.
The hustle. You like the hustle, huh?
Yeah. I like that.
So I probably shouldn't ask this, but I'm going to ask anyway, because now I'm darn curious. What's your guilty pleasure? Keeping the masochism out of it. Like, what's your guilty pleasure? What do you do for kind of the pleasure side of things?
My guilty pleasure, my really guilty pleasure is making music. I don't have time to do that. So I produce electronic beats and stuff like that, and it's something that I love. Like, it's a hobby that I love to do. So like, very rarely, if my mind is clear and I actually have some, even a few hours, I will do that.
Right.
But that's less and less. I hardly do that at all. My happy place is, my guilty pleasure would be probably just sitting on a patio of someone else's restaurant.
Right, a little downtime. Watch
he was going to say he was going to say Parallels patio, but
on Parallels patio. There we go.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. So if you could instantly become an expert, because you've done so many things at this point, if you could instantly become an expert in something, what would it be?
Ooh, if I could instantly become an expert, it would be what would that? I think about this all the time, but I'm drawing a blank. I think
Like, would it be music? Would you be drawn to music
I mean,
or wild
Yeah.
thinking? Like if you go
I
wild
think I
thinking.
could see you as a DJ with 2,000 people dancing to your beats. And them being happy about that could fit.
that would be amazing. I would
Yeah.
enjoy that.
I'm
I
putting
would
words
enjoy
into your
that.
mouth.
No,
so.
I would enjoy that. I would love to be like a successful producer of music. I would love
Right.
that, to be able to live off that, make money off that. That would be great.
Yeah.
But that's that's sort of a little bit in the past now. So my guilty pleasure is just
No, sitting on a patio.
sitting on a patio.
with a
Yeah.
Sounds
cold
pretty
beer.
good to me.
Yeah.
Well, you won't be
That's
able
it.
to do it the next month. So
No,
unless
it's
actually
gonna be
no, run
'cause
today and tomorrow, and that's it. So
That's
we'll move to the city part.
Yes, a
What's
good
your-
segue.
What's your favorite neighborhood in the city?
My favorite. Well, Kensington Market, of course.
I
In your
do.
blood, eh?
Yeah.
It's really in your
No,
blood. Yeah.
I think it's. I've got a lot of areas that I love, but I am sort of drawn to Chinatown and the market down there.
Mhm.
I find it's eclectic enough for me. It's diverse enough. It's dirty enough.
I'm so with you, Matias.
You know what I'm
that.
saying?
I go there at least once a week. I used to eat at the Big Fat Burrito. Now I
Yeah.
like it. I mean, they're great, but their location kind of, I don't know, bummed me out from the like beautiful
They
corner.
move. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, but that park there is unbelievable. You sit and you see characters, people dancing to music that's in their head and doing
right. It's the people
yoga and all. Yeah, they used to sell drugs.
Oh,
but
it's like a
now
movie.
it's legal, so that's done.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
like always people would.
I
walk
live
up
not
to you
far
and-
from Kensington. I live not
Yeah.
far from Kensington, and people there's a lot of tourists because they come from the CN Tower, and they'll stop and they'll say like, Kensington's around here. Is it worth going to? I'm like, yes, you need to go to Kensington.
Yep.
Okay, because that you really get a taste of Toronto.
Yep.
In Kensington, the diversity and just like it's gritty. It's gritty. It's not
It's
that
gritty.
polished, perfect.
Yeah,
It's
and there's not much
interesting.
of that anymore. There's not much.
No.
grit,
Oh, it's all cleaned up.
They're all
Yeah.
clean and agreed.
Yeah. Even
Agreed.
Kensington is getting clean.
Let's hope
Yeah.
it doesn't change too much.
Yeah.
Go protest.
Yeah, exactly. But I love other neighborhoods. I love Leslieville, to be honest. I really
Mhm.
love the East End.
Do you
I
live in
love it.
Leslieville?
I not anymore. I did up until about 5 months ago. Actually, not Leslieville proper. I was living in Little India. So
And
Right.
where did you move to?
so now I live at Richmond and Sherburne
Okay.
condo.
So
Nice.
speaking of gritty, I lived in Leslieville in 95
Okay.
when
Wow.
it was gritty.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it was gritty. It was the East End. I look at it now, I think, wow, what a difference.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen the progression over the years, but even in 95, it still had,
Oh yeah.
I was always drawn there. I just always liked the East End.
Okay,
Yeah.
guys, we have to make a pact that if Kensington gets too clean, we're gonna go and litter it up together. So we'll go on a Sunday or Saturday with
Okay,
garbage
yeah. Dirty it up.
and just throw it out on the street, just so it looks the way
It
it
doesn't
should.
lose that appeal.
Hopefully it'll never be that clean that we have to do
And
that.
I'm saying just in case,
You know-
we have a plan B.
You have a plan.
Working in Kensington, I got to see Kensington on Saturday mornings at 8 or 9 in the morning.
Ooh.
That is a different world.
Yeah, that's when the
That-
evening ends, right? That's when
That's when the
night-
evening ends. Exactly. That's the change of shift. It's pretty crazy.
I
Oh,
always heard,
funny.
I have a friend who she always fantasized to live in Kensington Market. And then when she moved there, she began regretting it.
I never fantasize about living there.
Visiting, in and out, in and out.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. What is your favorite coffee shop? Are you a coffee person?
I love coffee.
What's your favorite
Um,
coffee?
So kind of out of necessity, but they're also a great place. It's become Tango Palace. in Leslieville there.
Mhm.
That's my favorite. But yeah, aside from that, I think
Who's the best
my
coffee in the city, do you think?
honestly, it's Completo on Broadview. No, and I'm not just saying that. We're not known for coffee at all, and we don't
No,
sell
I
a
would
whole
never
lot of it.
imagine drinking coffee in
We
Completo
don't
there.
sell a whole lot of it, but I swear to God, the beans that we have there,
I
they're
don't
from
know, man. I'm gonna order coffee there, and
I was
I'm
gonna
worried.
say, one, you gotta
Avocado
test it
there.
I think
out.
I'm not going to buy. No, I'm not gonna order coffee. I'm not.
have a coffee. No, I trust me, trust me.
Okay.
It is.
I'm a coffee snob. Like coffee is.
Well, then I would love
is
to know
my
your
life.
opinion. I'm gonna force you to have one if
Okay.
I see you there.
Okay.
Then you're gonna
I-
start seeing him in the morning
I-
and in the afternoon or evening. You're gonna get him twice
He's
a
gonna
day.
regret that if I like it.
No, you gotta try it.
If I'm standing, like I'm in Regent Park, so I like for jet fuel. There's that line
Jet
up.
fuel. I love jet.
Yeah,
I
I
love
love Johnny and jet fuel. It's a strong coffee.
Yeah, I was gonna
Um,
mention jet fuel
Yeah,
before I mentioned.
cool. What's your favorite like time? Summer or winter in the city? Or sorry, what's your favorite summer or winter activity in the city?
Oh,
Sitting on a patio drinking beer. I'm just
Or
kidding.
on a, do you ice skate? Do you skate? Mine this year, I became an excellent skater because there was nothing else to do.
I like going to the beach. You know, I go to the beach. I jump in the lake.
Hmm.
Which
Like a lot
beach
of
do you
people
go
don't
to?
do that. In the beaches, I go to the end of the beaches where it's
Yeah.
less busy.
Mm-hmm.
Not like Woodbine Beach, but like right to the end. Near there's a dog beach.
Yeah.
Near there is not a lot of people. I have no qualms about jumping in the lake. I find it's an underutilized luxury that we have, and you know it got a bad rap, but you know just take a shower when you get home and don't drink the water.
Yeah, don't sweat the small stuff.
You'll be
right?
fine.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
people swim in the Ganges River. You know.
Right?
What do you think is the biggest missed opportunity in the city, Toronto?
There's a couple things for me. Well, first of all, our public transit. A missed opportunity was building subways about 20 years ago. I don't know what happened there. You know, I mean, I've been to third world countries that have subway systems that are way. So that's something that always has bothered me about Toronto. For the size of the city, I find that we just have a crappy, small subway system. It's inaccessible. This city is not very accessible. I mean, even getting from the east to the west side of the city is a nightmare. I don't, you know, I miss the west of the city. I go infrequently now. When I go, I feel like I'm a tourist. And it's because it's kind of a nightmare driving across in the rush hour. And it's settled down in the pandemic, but
Sure.
I'm kind of talking pre-pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But
I like the bike lanes though. The bike lanes they've been building are working for me.
That's great. That's great.
And everything
That's
is
great.
20 to 25 minute, like all the way to Dufferin even or whatnot is that's as long as it takes on the bike. So
On a bike, it's good. I'm
yeah.
talking driving, just driving. Driving or you know, and the subways, like they should be going out to neighborhoods out way out. Like everything should be connected. It should just be a lot easier.
Okay.
There's that, and my other problem is with city planning. It's in terms of all these condos going. I don't have a problem with the condos. I have a problem with the design on the street level. I find that you know, Toronto already has skimpy sidewalks. They're very small. Like we don't have big avenues, big wide sidewalks like some cities do. We don't have that luxury. We have these tiny little walkways and small streets, and you know, so it's already kind of difficult for retail on street level. But now you put these condos and the way they're designing shops on the bottom stuff. If you've noticed, they're mostly businesses come and go out.
Yeah.
Are they too close to the road, do you think?
There's not enough sidewalks, so they're
So
getting
there isn't
greedy.
a place to congregate. Is that
No,
what?
you know what happens when you have a row of stores that are like dark caves
Mhm.
all along, and then you have a tiny sidewalk. and then you have people traffic. You miss the stores. You have to turn
Yes.
90 degrees.
Yeah.
And stop.
Literally
Yeah.
a full 90 degrees and stop to see what's there.
Mm-hmm.
They build these overhangs. They're dark. You can't even tell if they're open. I find it terrible. And what happens is that only chains end up kind of surviving there. And small businesses cannot thrive there.
Yeah, you see it now on Yonge Street. Yonge Street is changing so much south of Bloor, and a lot of them are you're explaining it. Those
It
are
bothers me a lot, and it makes
Yeah.
for a crappier city. Like
it takes away the intimacy also.
Mhm.
street level is everything
Yeah.
in a city.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the vibrancy of a city. And when you don't have wide sidewalks and storefronts that are they're all cookie cutter. They're putting
Yeah.
this tinted glass in them. I mean, you can't even see inside. It's
They're not
really weird.
inviting. You're right. The invite, like there's not that inviting kind of atmosphere. It
It's
feels
not.
very sterile, very
It's
sterile. And the cookie cutter, yeah, there's no character to them. There's like that, they lack the character. I never thought of it until you're saying it now. And I'm like,
Some are
yeah,
better
you
than
know?
others. Some
Yes,
are better
of
than
course.
others, and some
Yeah.
are luckier because they're just in more happening neighborhoods. But there are tons and tons of condos and high rises where half the stores are not there's no one in them.
Right.
The other half are just constantly rotating. Every time the lease is up, they go, a new one comes.
Do you
Yeah.
know?
So
Yeah,
That doesn't create community, or
there
No,
in
no, it's
Regent
true.
Park here. I don't know if you've been on Dundas lately, near Sumac, and it's a whole design, a company, like a company, a neighborhood completely designed.
Yeah.
And I think they have listened to what you're saying, and they're creating. It's not all one space, or the stores aren't all in a row, but they're
Mhm.
indented inward a little, and there's created. It's kind of like energy. If you think of a street like a stream, and if it's
Mhm.
just two walls on two, like that, they just go straight and
Yeah.
it doesn't slow down. But when you
Yeah.
create all these grooves and corners, then
Yeah.
then it will linger and it will stick around.
you could step to the side and stop and take things in.
Yeah.
Like, if you talk pre-pandemic on a lot of these streets, the crush of people pushing you forward from behind. I mean, you
Yes.
can't really stop, or you got to like find a place to stand because people get pissed off and they're trying to, rush to work or do whatever
Mhm.
they're doing. And you need those little indent. I think that's great.
Yeah.
It's I think I love this neighborhood for that, and hopefully they do it in more areas.
Alon, sorry, just to say one more thing on this.
Mhm.
Toronto is not a city of architects, it's a city of builders. And there's a big difference.
What would you say is a better city? Montreal would be a better walking city.
I went to Santiago in Chile
Mhm.
the last time, and for the first time, I hadn't gone for maybe 4 years, so it had been a little while. I was blown away at the beauty, just the utter beauty of their street level, their sidewalks, their buildings, new buildings.
The new, yeah.
They're all modern.
Mhm.
In a certain part of the city, it's just all modern. So it's like Toronto or something.
But was it built more like a European city with bigger boulevards? Because boulevards give you
Yes.
that.
It has bigger boulevards, so it naturally has some things going for it. It has the bigger streets, like University Avenue. There's lots of streets that look like that with
Yeah.
plazas down the middle, and they're grand, and they
Mhm.
have grand sidewalks where you have room for patios, you have room for benches, you have room for trees, you have room for tons of stuff.
Water
For
fountains.
people too, for people, like
mostly for
make
people.
somewhere for sitting and,
Exactly. And
Yeah.
and so the patio culture, but even the new buildings, the condos and the office buildings are beautiful. They do things that they don't have to do, but they do them to make the building beautiful. I
Yeah.
find here everything is so money driven.
Well, it's efficient.
Because they're
Yes.
builders, so
Yeah.
efficient
Yeah.
that nothing is decorative. Everything has a purpose. Everything is just
right, practical.
practical.
Yeah.
And that's great for the developer who's pocketing the profits. But
Well, the city, I think, is forcing them to invest in art. So you'll walk by a building like that, and then you'll see this odd work of art in the
a
middle
piece
of
of
the
art beside
pavement.
it.
And
Yeah.
it actually, I find it cool, but it's not enough.
It's not
so,
enough. It's
no,
good.
yeah, like
but
the dog fountain, not far from where you're at now, is a good example. You know that one, right?
The dog-
On just by
On
church and front.
Front, no, isn't that?
Oh, where
yeah.
I live. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a dog for
Oh, I
the
haven't seen
water. You should go
Okay.
there. It's beautiful.
I hadn't seen it. But there's,
It's near
there's
the
that piece-
Flatiron Building. It's near the Flatiron Building.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's,
And
there's
the
that piece
Montreal
of-
design company did it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
cool. Yeah. So more of that.
Yeah.
That's a big thing for me. It's a big problem I have with this city.
Okay.
Mm.
I'll end the city part here because we went over time, but it's great. And this is stuff we really dig. I love
Yep.
talking about this stuff. Liza, take on.
Okay, I'm just
quick fire.
gonna jump in with one more. Just, do you have a charity that's close to your heart? Like, do you have a?
Yeah.
something you-
So, well, I only recently got involved with any kind of charity work. To be honest, I hadn't really been part of charity work before the pandemic. So the pandemic kind of started that for
Oh.
Completo and myself.
Right.
But we did some donations to Black, which
Okay.
is BLAC,
Okay.
which is it's a legal fund.
Okay.
It's a legal fund for Black people
Okay.
who are maybe in financial trouble but need legal
Sure.
help.
Yeah.
So
Oh.
because of the Black Lives Matter movement and everything that's going on socially in the world, my staff brought it to me. They found it and wanted to donate to this. So we did it. We've done it a few times.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's a small charity in Leslieville. It's called Neighbors in Need.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that we, for a couple months, or maybe it was more, we were donating food to weekly.
Right.
And Neighbors in Need, they're affiliated with Red Door, I think.
Yeah. Red Door
So
Shelter.
they're all connected.
Okay.
Yeah. And
Okay.
so that's more local. And I like local
Locals.
charity.
Yeah. Local's good.
That's
Local's
what we're
good.
looking for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
local's good. Okay, and that's like, look at what the pandemic has done. I mean, all the not great stuff too, but people are finding it in their hearts to give, and
for
to put
sure.
themselves out there.
Yep.
Okay, so we're gonna move to a quick fire, super fast questions.
All right.
So yeah, okay, dark chocolate or milk chocolate?
Dark.
Oh God, we thought you were gonna say white chocolate. We were like, oh God,
No,
no,
I hate white chocolate.
no. Beer, wine, or whiskey?
It's tough between whiskey and wine. I'm going to say wine.
You're gonna say wine? Okay. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner?
Tough too. I traditionally say breakfast.
Breakfast, your go-to breakfast guy. Home cooked meal or takeout?
Oh, home cooked.
Home cooked. City or countryside?
City, but moving towards countryside.
Ooh, yeah, etching your way closer. What is your favorite season?
Favorite season is even though we hardly have it anymore, fall.
Okay. Oh, I thought you would have been a summer guy. Night out or stay at home?
These days stay at home.
Yeah. Morning person or night owl?
Not because of the pandemic, just
Yeah. No, just yeah. Morning person or night owl?
morning
Bath or shower?
shower.
When you enter the swimming pool, ironically enough, do you jump in or do you tiptoe slowly? I
Jump.
think I know. Yeah, I was going to say you're a jump in. Cat or dog?
Dog.
Dog. Books or Netflix or TV?
Netflix or TV, unfortunately. I don't read much.
No.
I don't read books. I read a lot, actually, but they're articles. I don't read a lot
Right,
of
right. Yeah. Phone call or text?
text.
Okay. And I suspect I know the answer, but music or podcasts?
Oh, these days, podcast, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I would have thought you would have been into the music just because of your enjoyment of
I
music.
mean, at work, yeah, it plays in the background, but
Sure.
no, me actively listening, it's more podcasts these days.
Okay, good answer.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have a new one you can listen to.
Up front.
So, Matias,
Exactly.
we're ending the podcast and
Okay.
our talk. Is there anything you want to promote? Any message you want to give your customers, your community, anything? This is a time.
The message, well, I'd like to promote Completo. Everybody, try it if you've never tried it, and see
Two
if you like it.
locations, right?
Two locations, one at
locations.
Broadview in Riverdale, one on Coady Avenue near Queen in Leslieville. So come try us out. Besides that, my only message is support. I would like everybody to support any environmental cause that you can find.
Mm.
In any way possible, even if it means just behaving in a certain way.
Just recycle. We can just all recycle. You know?
Well, yeah. I
We
mean,
just-
at the very least,
Yeah. For
But
sure.
but support, I feel like we also, if anyone, I do often donate to just on a personal basis, not the business, to World Wildlife Fund. I'm
Okay.
into animals and nature a lot.
Okay.
So that to me is something I feel like, going through the Trump years and everything there was bad for the environment. I think we need to make up some lost time.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good
Thank you,
message.
Matias.
Thank you.
That's
It's
it.
been such a pleasure.
Thank
We
you, guys.
appreciate
This
your
was very
time.
enjoyable.
We'll see you
Yeah.
next week, or actually this weekend, maybe.
Yeah.
And,
You better come in on Sunday.
We expect a report on the coffee alone. We expect to know
And
what
the coffee.
I don't
yeah.
know, man. I'm
I'm-
afraid of that. I'm
I'm
afraid.
going to push one on you. And this was my first Zoom meeting ever, so I guess
I give you a 9.5 out of 10.
I did okay. Okay.
Yeah, I did well.
I give you a 10. You get a strong 10 from me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Brilliant.
you.
Thanks, man.
Take care.
Take care.
Ciao.
And then you just,
Yeah. Okay. I'm going to stop recording.
yeah, we're good.
We're good?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.